In this video, we're going to extend the functionality of loading additional data, in this case holidays, into the scheduler with a technique for preventing the actual loaded data from being modified in any way. Um, if we were to try to, say, edit one of these holidays that's loaded in the scheduler, we're going to get an error message back because they don't exist inside the task table, and the code for saving everything is related to the task table. So what we want to do is, because we're loading these holidays and these are static, there's no need to change them. We want to make them basically read-only, and to do that, we can just show an example here real quick. You can see that these events are completely editable, and you'll see that I'm double-clicking now on Ash Wednesday. I'm also trying to drag it. You'll see that they are not. And that's a desired effect that we want. And how we achieve that is through really just a couple of lines of code. And I'm going to show the code, and we're going to explain it here a little better. So this is the code we're using. And we're using the onBeforeLightbox event. And what we're doing is, and this is all just copied from the scheduler's website in the API. It gets passed in a function, and it takes the ID, and the ID of the actual event gets passed into this function. So what I'm doing is I'm saying if the type of the ID is a string, in the case of a new function or a new event, the ID is null. If it's a string and the index of that ID has a dash in it, and we'll show you why I'm using that. I'm just testing. There's various things you can use. You can use regex or any number of things to test the ID. But if it has a dash in it, then I'm going to return false, which means that this lightbox is not going to open whenever I click it. Otherwise, it's going to return true, and the lightbox will open. And then I did the same thing, and I attached the event on before drag, and it takes an ID. It also takes a mode. But in this case, I only need the ID again, and I'm just saying if ID and the ID index of. I'm basically using the same code, except here I'm just testing for the ID to make sure that it's not a null value. And that's going to take care of it for us. Now, how did I know to use this dash? Well, in this particular case, in this holidays component, we have it running here in Firefox, and inside Firefox we have Firebug running, and we can see whenever we load this data, the data from the first call back to the server is returning the JSON object, which has all of the real events that are being displayed in the scheduler. But then there's a second callback made to get the holidays, where I'm calling it from that holidays page, and that page is returning a ICS file, an iCal file. And this was discussed in the video, adding in other data such as holidays from a second source. We explained how we did this. But the UID inside of this iCal file, whenever you import an iCal file, becomes the ID. So everywhere there's a UID in here, this becomes the ID of the event. And as you can see, these events have hyphens in them in the IDs. So I'm just looking for the ID and just checking to see if there's a hyphen in it. If there's a hyphen in it, then I know it's one of these particular ones. Now I could look, I could take the ID in that function and do a lookup of the ID using a get event with the ID, scheduler.get event, and then that would bring in all the data, and I can use, and then I could look at some of the other things to see if I wanted to test for. But as you can see, this is a very easy way to do it. It only took a couple lines of code, and we got the desired effect, and that is making these not editable while everything else is editable. Thanks.